Okay, you guys. Kamala Harris met a few weeks ago with the National Black Journalists Association. Trump met with him, and that was the one that he got into it with the girl about Kamala saying she was black all of a sudden, and that was a big issue. Now, this is her sit down with him, and my issue with this interview is they talked to her specifically about black men. And being a black man, it was of great interest to me. But I didn't get anything out of her response except bullshit. Kamala Harris needs to face the facts. She ain't got nothing for black men. She has no agenda for black men. She has no love for black men. She is not showing us in any way that she's doing anything that's going to help black people. She has a lot more support with black women than she does black men, but a lot of black women are on to her. It's not everybody ain't drunk the Kool-Aid, folks. And when you hear this interview, and then at the end, we'll try to wrap this up by coming to some understanding of did she actually, in her interview, say specifically the things she's going to do to address black men, because that's what she was asked.
And extending the child tax credit.
Madam Vice President, black men, as you know, are a closely watched voting bloc. You've hosted black men at your residence.
Yep.
You have engaged black men and centered them in your economic opportunity tour.
Mm-hmm.
You have hosted men at your residence. What were they painting? I'm like, what were they doing? Oh my God.
But polling shows that some black men, particularly young black men, are considering voting for Donald Trump, and they see him as better for the economy. What is your message to young black male voters who feel left out of this economy, and how can your economic policies materially change their lives?
So I appreciate the spirit of the question, but I'll tell you, I've often been asked this question in a way that I've had to respond by first saying that I think it's very important to not operate from the assumption that black men are in anybody's pocket.
Well, we know goddamn well they're not in Trump's pocket, so what are you saying? That you're assuming that you know exactly what you're saying, that you pretty much think you got the black vote in your pocket, that's why you haven't done anything extra. If you knew you didn't have black men at all, zero, you'd be doing something. You'd figure out a way to come out with a campaign platform item that you would add, and it would be specific. The majority way favor black men. But instead, you're sitting here talking like you're engaging black men and not. I would like to know what those black men were at your house doing. What did you host at your house that was for black men? And because I looked it up and I couldn't find nothing. I would like to know what that was all about. But apparently that journalist knew, and it didn't bother him. He just dealing with your answer. And let's get back to it.
Black men are like any other voting group. You got to earn their vote. So I'm working to earn the vote.
How? How are you working to earn the vote? She's squirming and shit. She nervous because she lying. And I'm so sorry for people who support Kamala Harris and see this shit and they get their feelings hurt. Just answer the question I'm asking. Where is her support for black men? And if you're black and you're sitting here saying, well, she's the president, going to be the president for everybody, so she can't do nothing. She can. They specifically lynched us. They specifically enslaved us. They specifically discriminate against us currently. And they can specifically give us some shit that's going to help us. And that's all I'm saying. And you guys need to quit playing like we all on even fields. I hear black people telling me everything's equal now. We need to get past. I'm like, wow. I know we're undereducated, but sometimes I'm starting to re-gauge just how much. Because we're angered over a woman who don't have us in her heart. She don't have us on her agenda. She don't have us in her plan. So we're not going to argue over it. But we will get on with this interview.
Not assuming I'm going to have it because I am black, but because the policies and the perspectives I have understands what we must do to recognize the needs of all communities. And I intend to be a president for all people.
See, that's her way of getting off the question. The question was, you have to realize, Kamala, that over the history of this country, we had too many presidents who weren't the president for the whole country. They were only the president for certain people. And they made sure that those people were taken very good care of. And we're in a place we're in because of that kind of thinking. Not selling us houses, not giving us jobs, not giving us opportunities for hospital care. All those things have ended up putting us where we are today. And when we get people like you who start saying, like Obama did, hey, I just want to be the president for the United States, and everybody's, if you have that mentality, then you are against us. You're not only not for, you're against us. That's an act against us to put us out there in a situation that up to this point we failed in. And you haven't added anything that's going to help us get out of there, but you're saying that you are. What is specifically for black men? You've already deviated from the direct question to you already. And I got a problem with it.
Specifically as it relates to what we need to do, to your point around economic opportunity, yes, I started way before I was at the top of the ticket at what I called an economic opportunity tour, focused on black men.
That's a damn lie. That is a damn lie. When has she ever had anything focused just for black? She's just telling you in every speech, everything she doing is for everybody. Everybody's going to have access to her opportunity economy. If she had a focus group or whatever the hell she just said, and black men were involved in it, then she should have realized they need a little extra help than some of the others who's on her radar. But she didn't have that, and she didn't do that, and she's telling a damn lie. She has no plan for black men, and she just can't sit there and say it. So this is what the fuck the interview looks like. It looks ridiculous.
Understanding that, for example, we have so many entrepreneurs in the community who do
not black ones, because they don't have the resources. We don't have the black business owners. And why are you talking about business owners? And the question is black men. Our health, money. It don't have to be a business. Just find a way for us to be treated like everybody else. You might not want to own a business. You might want to go fill out a job application and work for someone. That might be good for you. You still should be able to buy a home. You still should be able to feed your family. Well, she can't guide you into being a business owner. The question is, take us the way we are and lift us up in your plan, like you're lifting the immigrants up, like you're lifting the people in Ukraine up. You're lifting everybody up. We need to be lifted up. Apparently you don't see us.
not have access to capital, but they've got great ideas, an incredible work ethic, the ambition, the aspiration, the dream, but don't have the relationships necessarily. So my work has included, as vice president, getting billions more dollars into community banks, including working with the big banks to do that, so that we can increase access to capital.
For who, though? What in the hell is she talking about? That's the kind of shit that pisses people off. She is not talking about black men right now. Whatever the fuck she's talking about right now, and the billions into banks, it ain't us. Because we ain't getting billions out of the banks. So who are they putting that money in them banks for? If the money's obviously going in there, but who is getting it? What is she talking about? How many black men do you know who own businesses? And I ain't talking about car detailing. I'm talking about where you have employees. There are some, but it ain't a whole lot of them, and most of them made their money another way. Look at Shaquille O'Neal. He got hundreds of businesses probably. Magic Johnson. But they made their money being a professional athlete, and now they have an abundance of it. And you can do whatever you want to do, whatever. But what about the rest of us who don't have access to capital? That's what the question is to her. And she's sitting there talking about something else. I have no idea where she's going with this.
For our small businesses, for our startups, part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again, that when people have the opportunity to have the resources to get started, they're going to put the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it. And
this lady is crazy. I'm going to tell you guys something. Let's say, for instance, 100% of the loans that she's talking about for the businesses. We're not going to talk about people who want jobs, but I guess they're going to just be unemployed. We're not going to talk about anything else but people who want to start businesses in the United States. Let's say 100% of those loans are issued. How many? And we're 13% of the population, and we're heavily discriminated against. It's not like we usually end up with about 13% of shit. But if we ended up with 13%, in my humble opinion, that would be slighting us because of all the injustices that have happened up to this point. That would be fair for these times. But these times are so heavily affected by the past that you can't really do that kind of stuff. But I'm willing to bet, with my eyes closed, that 100% of those loans, less than 13% will go to blacks. And to be really fair, probably less than 5% will go to blacks. And that's so what is she talking about specifically for black people? The question is, what are you going to do to specifically uplift black people? And the only way you can do that is to put the brakes on everybody else. That's the only way you can do it, because we are operating at a deficit, a heavy deficit, and you can't give everybody else the same opportunity or the same gift or the same benefit that you give us and expect for things to just work their way out. You obviously haven't given this much thought, Kamala, and it's showing, and that's why black men feel the way they do about you.
Part of what I also know is that our young black men are black men just like any group of people, anybody.
See? They asked her about black men, and she got to pull other people in. Hey, black men, just like anybody else. We've always been like anybody else. We've always wanted to take our wives and our girlfriends out on dates without being harassed or murdered. We've always wanted to own a home so we can secure our family in it and feed them and nurture them and raise them. We've always wanted all that shit. So don't sit here and drag other people into a question that is asked of you during a presidential election campaign specifically about black men, and you're dodging the question and ducking the question, or you can't answer the question because you don't have an answer. Why can't you just say that? Because I can see it, and I hope everyone else can too. This is ridiculous.
Our small businesses are really the backbone of our economy overall, and when they do better economically, we all do better.
So if black men were the backbone of this country, what would the country look like? 40% of us, 40% of the prison population is black. So believe me, they ain't relying on us as no economic engine anymore. We were at one time, but we're not now. But I'm just saying, what is wrong with her? She's talking about stuff that is not answering or coming close to answering this question. And that's why I just picked this part of the interview, because it pertains to me. It's something I can speak on. And I'm giving anyone who wants to drop in my comments an opportunity to explain to me how this specifically addresses black men, because that was the question.
Part of my work is about understanding what we need to do in dealing with, for example, the historic inequities that have faced the black community around home ownership, right? I don't have to go through the history with anybody here about what that has meant in terms of redlining, what that has meant in terms of biases and home appraisals, and what the impact it has had on stemming the opportunity to build intergenerational wealth because of those obstacles. So part of the work that I have done and will continue to do is identify, speak truth about those obstacles, and address them. Another example is medical debt.
She just said speak true to them and address them. You don't wave no goddamn magic wand at this shit. What have you done? What have you done? What steps have you actually taken? You didn't even answer the question. You answer a question with an idea. That ain't no goddamn answer. What are you doing specifically to uplift black men? That's the question. That's the crux of what he's asking you. And you dodging, ducking, and not prepared for this one.
1 in 4 black families or individuals is more likely to carry medical debt than others.
So why wouldn't you figure out a way to make it not be that way? Put the black people even with everybody else by giving them an extra allowance, an extra boost up, or an extra opportunity to your economy, because they're gonna have to have help in order to catch up with everybody else. Everybody else is not gonna do it on their own. Even if they started being fair right now, we're still gonna be in a very bad place. But everyone isn't gonna start being fair. Everybody's gonna be the way they've been being. There's no way they're gonna stop. And the United States government has been the financer of our demise, the financer of our hardships. And we have another person, and I'm telling you, to give up on the government as a black person would not be that unrealistic of a goal, because it just makes you feel like, this is what we got to look forward to. This is the president of the United States who's pretending to be one of us and ain't even willing to do nothing for us. I mean, that's about as low as you can go. What about Trump? He lied about a lot of shit, but he ain't lied about being black. And she has. And now I got a problem with it. Like Janet Jackson. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
So part of my perspective, and as vice president, part of the work that we have done is to say that we're going to eliminate medical debt from being on your credit score. Because...
But if you eliminate debt from people's credit scores, that's a wonderful thing. It probably should be that way. It should have happened already. But how the hell did that help black men? Any different than anyone else? If the black man gets his medical debt removed from his transcript, his financial history, and the white man does the exact same thing, and then they go apply for a house, and the white man gets a house and the black man don't, out of racism, then what good is it if everybody has the exact... You can't give the same chances now. You have to figure... That's the hardest part that we're going through as a country, is everybody now feels like we are good old friends. Every movie theater you go to, you see a black guy with a white girl, or a white girl with a Mexican man, and it just seemed like, no, it hasn't been repaired or remedied. And it's a beautiful thing to see all this love going on around us, folks. But we need to get down to business. And people like her are just prolonging and stalling and increasing the chances of us never getting anything at all. And to me, that's why I say it's a offensive act on her part. She's playing like stupid up there, but she's not. She totally knows what she's doing. She's having a hard time getting through this question, though. And she has not addressed it as of yet.
Until now, medical debt worked against your credit score, and people know their credit score, like your weight, right? You know that number. And the difference between what that number is and what it needs to be is the difference between you being able to get a car loan, a small business loan, or even a lease on an apartment. And so part of my approach is understanding the obstacles that traditionally and currently exist to allow anyone, including black men.
See? That's what I'm saying. The question, anyone, including, like an afterthought. The goddamn question was about black men, and she said, answering the question about the general population, including black men. You know what I'm saying? You don't see how that shit got turned around to me. I don't think she should have even been talking about the general population, because the question wasn't asked about the general population. She put that in there. She should be answering that question specifically and laser focused on black men. That's it. Because that's what the question was about. It's a room full of black people. Those are black journalists. I don't even know we're talking about anything else but black issues. We need to be... Those journalists failed us. Because those journalists should have broke her down with nothing but how immigration affects black people, how inflation affects black people, how not getting reparations affects black people, how us sending money to Ukraine and Israel affects black people, how black people are having medical issues that aren't being addressed in this country. Those are the things that we need to be worried about with a room full of black people and a black vice president candidate. Ain't that the way it should have went? But nah, they ever talking about everything under the sun. And then when they do start talking about black people, she on to something else. Everyone. It's just such a wonderful world when everyone gets along, isn't it?
Be able to achieve economic wealth. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it is sufficient to just only talk about economic policy around reducing unemployment. It is an important marker. And I'm proud of the work that we've done thus far. But it should be a baseline there. Everybody's working. The point is,
but everybody ain't. She keep talking about what should be. She's the damn vice president. We need to start talking about what is and how to move on from that. It should be a baseline in the country. Well, it ain't. We always have 4% or 8% or 12% or 6%, but we always have a percentage of unemployment. And you can't just sit there and say, well, it should be. If it isn't, what do you do for those who are more affected by it? The black man. The goddamn beginning of the question that you keep veering away from because you don't want to answer because you ain't got nothing for us.
Do people have an opportunity to build wealth if that's what they choose to do?
Yeah, some people don't. You know, if you have an opportunity, you ever just had a $1 million idea just brewing in your head, and you just had all the financing and family support, and all your friends are calling you, hey, did you ever get that project going? You're like, nah, I don't want to invest in my future. I don't want no wealth. Who the hell does? She just be talking crazy, man. I'm telling you. Something is wrong with Kamala Harris. You heard that shit here. Something is wrong with her. She don't even know how to speak in normal human terms. Somebody asks you a question, you could beat around the bush and kind of tailor your answer to where it don't look so horrible. But this what shit here that she does makes no sense. She's not trying to answer the question, not even a little bit. I don't know what she's trying to do.
That's what they want to do. And a lot of my perspective as we go forward is just that. I believe that there are a lot of opportunities that are available to the American people if we see people and understand what they want for themselves and their families and then meet them where they are.
Yeah, that's that bullshit. That's that straight bullshit right there. Just meet them where they are. You know, no matter where they are, we just meet them. You ain't met them yet. What makes us think you're going to get elected and meet us now? You have never met us where we are.
Madam Vice President, I want to switch gears.
Yeah, that's it for that. They switched up because she is sweating and shit. It's probably like, we need to change this. They going on to Gaza, which is another topic that's going to cause her problems. She got the border. She got black people fractured. You know, those of you who support her, more power to you. But there are those of us who don't. She got that problem because her percentage in the black community has to be high because we're in the center of all those damn states that they like to refer to as swing states. When you go to Michigan, one of the biggest areas for blacks is Detroit. You remember where they had that poison ass water and the White House didn't do anything about it? Obama them ignored it. He went down there and played like he drunk some of that shit and didn't. You remember that? That's what I'm saying. They don't give a damn about black people. Don't give a damn. That's when you take the kind of money you dumping into Ukraine and you take the kind of money you putting into Israel and into our military industrial complex and you go fix that water. And you fix that water immediately because you got Americans being sickened and dying because of it. And then somebody asks you a question about what you're going to do for black people and all you got to do is start talking about the word everybody should not come out your mouth. Because we didn't ask you a question about everybody, and neither did that fool up there. They're being as nice to you. You've been thrown underhand fucking pitches, and you haven't hit one of them. And right now, you need to go to another network and be talked to. And it ain't got to be Fox. There are others. Fox, you don't want to go on Fox because they are physically going to try to harm you bad. They're going to ask you questions so bad you might keel over. You will be in physical pain on that stage. No way you'd make it through a Fox interview. So I would advise you not to do that. And I ain't even a supporter. Don't do it. Don't do it, Kamala. Run, Kamala, run. Yeah, I'm done, you guys. As a black man, I love black people who support me. I like black people who are like-minded and like me. And she's different. There's something going on in that one right there. And we need to figure it out. Because it's a reason why she's chosen our race. She could have chose the Middle Eastern, South Asian. She could have done a whole lot of other things other than be black and been convincing with it. But she chose us. I'm telling you, our story is one of them stories that it tops all the Rocky movies put together. You know what I'm saying? Climbing up them stairs, dun, 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 dun. That's our shit. And we ain't got right yet. And we need to be getting right. And not by somebody who gonna pretend to be us. That's just not gonna get it for us. We are fighters, and we know better than to be tricked by people and led down a path. And for 60 years we have been. I believe that we went into shock after the assassination of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and the Kennedys, that so many black people held near and dear to their heart because they were white and they appeared to tolerate black people. But, you know, everybody got, for the era, they probably were pretty good guys. I don't know. But I feel something must have been going on positive between them and black people for them to just come up murdered like that. I mean, good Lord, what a violent country. And then you expect people to just stick. That's why our black leaders act the way they do. Because they don't want to be in a position to do something really, really good for black people, because you got a CIA investigating you and wondering why all these black people listening to this guy. What's he telling me? Must be up to something wrong. You know, I mean, that kind of shit there. Oh, we want you to do well. Oh, we want everybody to have a fair chance. But when black people really do well, then, or look like they may do well, then they get watched and impeded and stopped and stomped on. So that's just how it is, folks. And I just want to know, please, by comments, what kind of an explanation do you give for the kind of answers that she's given on this stage for all these goddamn questions? I just ain't got 45 minutes of her talking in me today. I can't deal with it. So what I'm going to do is allow you guys who saw it, you can speak on any part of it, but the part that is why I won't support her is because she has no support for black people, men or women. But they made it easy and just said black men. She could have said, oh, I just felt that way because a black man bumped into me this morning, and I don't know what her excuse could be, because there's no valid one. To keep pretending and pretending, it's wearing thin. You ought to be able to spit that out like Cornel Westwood or Jill Stein. You get them in the interview and ask Jill Stein about black people. She ain't even black. She ain't never pretended to be. But her answer would open your eyes up and you'll be like, wow. But you wouldn't vote for her because everybody else don't feel like that. So we tend to vote with the herd because we want to win. You can't vote for Jill Stein and win unless you have the kind of confidence in yourself and the kind of belief in yourself where you can vote for a Jill Stein and feel like you won because you didn't vote for that dumb Kamala Harris or that idiot Donald Trump. You voted for who you felt would help your life. And it probably didn't go anywhere for you. So use your vote strategically. Do whatever you feel. It is your vote. And you don't have to explain it to anybody. But, you know, don't vote with the herd just because people are shouting you down. Trump folks are just as bad. They feel like you're stupid if you don't get it. And Democrats are the same. What's wrong with him? A black man supporting Trump over Kamala? Well, I'm not supporting Trump. Yeah, but you're not supporting the sister, man. She's not a sister. Not like in that sense. So we can't let her be black when we want her to be, and then she be Middle Eastern, and once she get in office, she ain't going to do anything special for us. And as a president, I don't expect her to. I expect a president to do what's fair. And a white president or a Middle Eastern president or a South Asian president or a Filipino president should understand the history of the country and make adjustments accordingly. That's all I'm saying. All right, you guys, I'm going to get it out of here. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you on the next one.